In a dramatic turn of events, a press conference held in the Oval Office at the White House featuring Donald Trump was abruptly interrupted when a guest standing behind the president suddenly collapsed. The event, intended to highlight agreements with major pharmaceutical companies on weight loss drug pricing, turned into a chaotic scene of concern and quick medical response. According to officials and media accounts, the gathering had progressed into its normal rhythm when the collapse occurred. The president, seated behind a resolute desk, shifted his attention as the incident unfolded and those nearby moved in to assist. Among them was Mendez, then administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, who'd quickly rushed to the scene. Witnesses described how the man first appeared to stumble as remarks were being made by David Ricks, chief executive of one of the pharmaceutical firms in attendance. The guest, whose identity has not been publicly confirmed, appeared to become lightheaded and was forcefully supported by those around him before being lowered to the floor. Cameras captured the moment and feet were interrupted soon after. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt later issued a brief statement saying that during the Most Favored Nation's Oval Office announcement, a representative with one of the companies fainted and that the White House medical unit responded quickly and that the individual was okay. After a pause in proceedings, the president returned to the podium and addressed the incident, confirming that the person had experienced a little bit of a lightheaded moment, had been sent out for care, and was fine. He apologized for the interruption and then resumed the planned remarks. Preceding the incident, the press conference had been focused on an agreement between the U.S. administration and leading pharmaceutical companies to reduce the price of certain GLP-1 weight loss drugs for Medicare and Medicaid recipients. The collapse occurred just as the pricing plan was being discussed and the live rooms abruptly ended and then resumed after the individual was attended to. In the aftermath, the companies involved issued statements clarifying that the person who collapsed was not an executive from one of the better-known firms initially speculated in online reports. For example, the widely circulated name of Gordon Findlay of Novo was initially floated but later refuted by the company. While the cause of the fainting remains undetermined, officials noted that the individual is now receiving medical care and in stable condition. The incident underlined the high-stakes nature of such public health announcements and the unpredictable elements of live events at the nation's top government venue. The backdrop of this incident is notable. The president was unveiling a scheme intended to dramatically lower monthly costs for popular weight loss medications, which have been in the spotlight for their high demand and rapidly rising consumer interest. By anchoring the announcement in the Oval Office and featuring top leaders from pharmaceutical companies, the administration sought to portray a major policy move aimed at affordability, which added to the tension when the medical emergency cropped up. Eyewitnesses say that guest appeared to sway slightly, then paused and attempted to steady himself as those near him asked if he was okay. One moment captured in images shows David Ricks seemingly calling his name, "You okay? Gordon? You okay?" before the man started to collapse. The camera lingered on President Trump rising from his seat and leaning over to observe as others supported the man to the floor. Media outlets covering the live feed described pandemonium for a brief moment as staffers shouted "press out" and directed journalists and photographers out of the room. Streams were cut and the scheduled remarks were delayed while medical personnel attended the patient. Within minutes the situation was under control and the broadcast resumed, though the tone of the event had clearly shifted. The identity and medical condition of the individual remains somewhat opaque, with no official confirmation of his role or what triggered the fainting. The administration and involved companies appear to have opted for discretion, citing the person as a representative of a participating firm and describing the incident as a medical situation rather than providing full details. There are broader implications of the event. For one, it underscores the intense scrutiny on health policy announcements and the need for flawless execution in high-visibility settings. The optics of someone collapsing behind the president during a major policy rollout are jarring. Public reaction online pointed out the odd juxtaposition of a major corporate government announcement being disrupted by a medical emergency. Some commentators used the moment to highlight the pace and pressure under which such events are organized. From an organizational standpoint, it raises questions about on-site medical preparedness and contingency planning for live press conferences at the White House. The speed with which the White House medical unit responded was noted favorably in statements, though some observers suggested the room may have been momentarily understaffed given the large attendance of corporate and government figures. Confirming what occurred, the White House cleared the narrative that the event was proceeding as planned post-incident and sought to reassure the public. In his remarks, the president attempted to downplay the alarm, noting that the person got a little bit lightheaded. He's fine. However, the interruption did add an uneasy note to what was otherwise intended as a triumphant policy moment. The pharmaceutical sector watchers pointed out that while price reduction deals often attract headlines, the backdrop of a failing incident may overshadow even a major policy announcement. The discussions around GLP-1 drugs, which have seen rapid growth, supply constraints and pricing controversies, were momentarily sidelined by this unexpected occurrence. The associations and companies involved will likely now focus on both the policy message and crisis communications management following the incident. In the broader political environment, this episode may feed into narratives around performance, stability and optics for the administration. Public perception of leadership during moments of stress is shaped not only by policy announcements but also by how officials handle the unexpected. While President Trump and other senior figures attempted to project calm and resume the event, the moment will likely be replayed in media coverage and political commentary. For the guest who collapsed, while the immediate risk appears to have passed, the incident may prompt questions about his condition and whether he was fit to attend such a high-profile event. If he was in a fainting risk category or experiencing health stress due to travel, standing long periods, or simply lighting and camera heat, these factors may be scrutinized. Similarly, organizations hosting officials at the White House may revisit screening and support practices. Given the public interest in weight loss drug pricing and affordability, the policy message is significant. But the collapse has introduced a human interest and health safety angle that complicates the narrative. It reflects how in a live broadcast situation, unexpected personal health issues can momentarily overshadow policy talk and shift the focus to immediate care and response. In sum, what was to be a controlled and carefully choreographed announcement in the Oval Office became an unscripted moment of drama when a guest collapsed behind President Trump. The immediate medical response appears to have been effective, the individual is reported to be fine, and the event has resumed. Nonetheless, the optics and implications for communications, policy rollout, health event management and public perception will linger and will likely spark further commentary in media and political circles.